the worst punishments throughout human history. Do you think an hour of not being able to scroll on TikTok is a cruel punishment? Then wait till you hear about these brutal punishments that are so painful they make people lose their mind. Number 10. The impalement, pierced through. As the name suggests, this punishment involved torture by piercing a person's body with a long, sharp pole, spear, hook, or stake. There were several variations to this punishment, such as longitudinal and transversal. For longitudinal, the convict was positioned over the greased stake, and then it was inserted up their rear privates. This makes the punishment last longer and be more painful. The sharp object used to be inserted only halfway through, and then gravity was left to do the rest of the work. The person would suffer from the pain for several days as the stake pierced deeper. Similarly, for transversal, the body was pierced from the front or the back. Sometimes the person was just thrown onto a metal hook and left to die or be tortured by the executioner. This punishment was very popular during the Middle Ages. People who committed crimes against the state were punished just like this. Number 9. The Crucifixion. In this method of punishment, the person was tied or nailed to a wooden cross or beam in public. They were not just simply tied. Nails were pierced through the bone, below the wrist, and the feet were nailed to the vertical beam. The placement of the nails was done in a manner that avoided piercing major blood vessels. This method made the death slow and painful because once the legs weakened, the arms were left to hold the weight of the body. As a result, shoulders were pulled from their sockets. Elbows and wrists would dislocate and stretch, resulting in the arms being several inches longer. Once the legs and arms give up, the chest had to bear the body weight, which resulted in difficulty in breathing and eventually suffocation. Number 8. Spoofism. Humans have come up with the most gruesome ways to punish criminals, and this is one of the most brutal. Spoofism, also known as the boat, is a form of punishment where the criminal was trapped inside 2 hollow boats or 2 empty logs with his limbs and head sticking out. Then the accused was force-fed honey and milk. You might be thinking, honey and milk, that's not so bad. But this honey and milk diet eventually led to uncontrollable diarrhea, which filled the boat. The punishment does not end there. More and more milk and honey were fed to the person and poured on the face to attract vermins. The vermins would then enter the body and eat the person alive while the person screamed in pain. Number 7. The Roman candle. This method of punishment is bone-chilling in every way. Our history is filled with kings and queens who were brutal and gave insane punishments to people, and Roman ruler Nero is one of those rulers. The Roman candle is a horrible and inhumane execution method. It has been named the Roman candle because Nero used human candles or torches for his garden parties. People would be tied to stakes, and then the flammable liquid was poured on them. The fire used to start at the feet and slowly reached the head, which made the punishment slow and extremely painful. Number 6. The rat torture. The rat torture was done with a device called the rat trap. A rat was put inside a cage that was open from one end. The one end was placed against the abdomen of the victim. The cage was heated from one side, making the rat agitated. The poor rat will try to get away from the hot part of the cage, but the other side is closed by the abdomen of the person. So where would the rat go? Well, the thing about rats is that they can eat through almost anything. So the only soft thing available for that rat to chew and claw is the victim's skin. This was how the rat used to slowly eat away the person's flesh, to get out of the cage. This process was also used to get information out of the prisoners while they shouted in agony. Are these torture methods sending a chill down your spine? Then wait till you see our number 1. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on post notifications to be updated on our latest posts. Number 5. The execution wheel. The execution wheel was a torture method that made the victims feel intense pain. The execution wheel was also called the breaking wheel or the Catherine wheel. In this method, the criminal was tied to a large wooden wheel. The aim of the execution wheel was not to kill the person, but to make them feel excruciating pain. After being tied to the wheel, the person was beaten with an iron bar by the executioner. The executioner used to start by breaking the legs and then slowly moving upwards, torturing the victim near death by crushing all the bones in the body. Once this was done, the victim was repositioned so that their heels touched the back of their neck. Then the victim was left to bleed to death. Number 4. Skinned alive. Flaying or skinning alive was a punishment that was initially meant to be for animals. But as time passed, humans also suffered from this extremely painful punishment. Firstly, the victim's hands and legs were tied to stop any movement. Following this, the executioner would begin peeling the person's skin with a sharp blade. Most of the time, the executioner would start with the head because this area would inflict the most pain due to the victim's consciousness. There were many instances where parts of the victim's body were boiled to soften the skin to make it easier to peel. Some people only survived a few hours of torture, while others lasted for days before dying of infection or blood loss. Number 3. Sawed in half. Sawing someone in half has got to be one of the most painful methods of torture, and if that act itself was not brutal enough, to make matters worse, the victims were often hanged upside down. The person was sawed from groin to head to keep the person conscious for a longer period of time. According to historical documents, firstly, the victim's hands and feet were sawed, and then they were torched to stop the bleeding, preventing the victim's death by loss of blood. After this, the person was sawed in half. This was usually done in public so that the people could watch the person being sawed and being drenched in their own blood. Number 2. The Brazen Bull. The Brazen Bull was a device invented to torture enemies. It is also called the Sicilian Bull because it was invented in Sicily City. This torture device was made of bronze and it was hollow from the inside. The victim was then locked inside the stomach of the bull and a fire was set under it. The bull slowly heated, roasting the person to death. The device contained some flute-like pipes which carried the screams of the person to the bull's nostrils and converted the screams into roars of a bull. The sculptor named Perillus created this device to gain the favor of tyrant Phalaris, but Phalaris put the sculptor inside to test the effectiveness of the device. Number 1. The Blood Eagle. On the top spot of this list is the most barbaric method of punishing someone, the Blood Eagle. This method is so gruesome that it is hard to believe whether it was actually carried out or not. The victim's movements were first stopped by tying the hands and legs. Then, another person who is seeking revenge or punishing the victim would tear apart their back with an axe. Each rib was separated from the backbone and folded in a way that looked like giant fingers coming out of the victim's body. When the ribs are folded, the internal organs of the victim appear, which were rubbed with salt to make the wounds sting even more. They did not stop there. The torturer then moved the lungs to the back side of the body to make it look like the victim had eagle wings on the back. The lungs were not removed. They were shifted to keep the victim alive. The victim was then set free, only to die in the next few seconds. Now, aren't you glad that your torture is simply not being able to find what to watch next on YouTube? Which punishment do you think was the most cruel? Tell us below. And if you liked what you saw, then definitely check out this video.